one of Vladimir Putin's key allies, has warned that the horsemen of the apocalypse are on their way in the latest chilling Kremlin warning of destruction. Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of Russia, warned Moscow would attack western cities if Ukraine uses missiles provided by the US. Although he remained under his influence. He wrote last week, "I am often asked why my Telegram posts are so harsh. The answer is I hate them. They are BDS and degenerates. They want death for Russia. And while I'm alive, I will do everything to make them disappear." The they Medvedev is referring to is understood to mean Ukraine and its allies. Days earlier he said Moscow would escalate their war on the West if US-supplied missiles are used against Russian forces, saying, "The horsemen of the apocalypse are already on their way." Medvedev, who was previously seen as a modernizer and a more liberal figurehead for Russia, has also accused Ukraine of being led by drugged-out Nazis. Last month, he warned military support for Ukraine risks sparking nuclear war with Russia. He wrote on Telegram, "NATO countries pumping weapons into Ukraine, training troops to use Western equipment, sending in mercenaries and the exercises of alliance countries near our borders increase the likelihood of a direct and open conflict between NATO and Russia." Such a conflict always has the risk of turning into a full-fledged nuclear war. Medvedev accused NATO countries of sending in mercenaries to fight for Ukraine and intentionally playing up the prospect of nuclear war. His stormy post continued, "The endless talk by foreign analysts about a war between NATO and Russia continues unabated. The cynicism of Western talking heads is becoming more and more blatant. The thesis that Russia frightens the world with a nuclear conflict is being pushed to the top of the agenda." Even Donald Trump recently came out with this, though, understandably, just to spite President Biden. And of course the Europeans are squeaking their little voices. He also warned the West, "I want to articulate very clearly once again the things that are so obvious to all reasonable people. You don't have to lie to yourself and others. You just have to think about the possible consequences of your actions. And don't choke on your own saliva in paroxysms of Russophobia." Former opposition MP Dmitry Medvedev has claimed Medvedev's rants show he is preparing for a second bid for power when Putin eventually relinquishes his hold. The strong anti-Western rhetoric appeals to hardliners in the Russian military and helps change the narrative that he is seen as too soft. Medvedev said, he is trying to please the hardliners in the hope that they will promote him, in the event of Putin leaving office. The only way to survive politically right now in Russia is to be a hawk. Medvedev appointed Putin prime minister during his presidency. When Putin was allowed to become president once again, Medvedev stepped aside. He took the premiership until 2020, at which point Putin nullified term limits and moved Medvedev to his current role.